So strap in and get ready.
The leaders in NRL SuperCoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings.
You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Metrics, and Whisperer.
G'day, everybody. Welcome back to the Insight NRL Show. The tins are cracked. It is Tuesday night. It's time for Q&A for our Patreon subscribers. You're watching live if you are, and if you're watching this a little bit later, then you aren't, but you still can be if you want to be. And the link is below to become a subscriber and get your questions answered every single week. Matty, how you going, mate? No basketball. You had basketball early this week.
I had basketball early. Oh, look, last week I absolutely cooked. 16, 4, 6, 60% shooting, 3 steals. And you want to know how I went today? About 13. And just absolutely stunk it up and we lost. So yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was, what would you give? What kind of teammate grade in 2K would you give yourself after that performance?
Honestly, I probably would have got an F by the second quarter and graded out. Yeah,
just benched.
I benched myself at one stage in about the second quarter. I just walked. I didn't even say anything. There was a timeout. I just walked over and I just sat down. They're like, are you going back on? And I was like, probably not. Probably not.
That's fair. Get the AI to replace me. That's usually how it works in the rec, isn't it? Dear. No basketball for me, mate. Just sitting around. Just can't wait to talk footy, because we get to do it only 3 nights a week. So tonight is one of those nights. We've got plenty of questions on the docket tonight as well. So we'll kick things off with Lorenzo. Thoughts on trading Dylan Egan to enough and Iongi to Cleary via flex? Has 108,000 in the bank. Egan obviously a trade out, right? To enough though. How do you feel? First of all, let's have the enough conversation. Do you think we're at that point?
Yeah. And if you are, I'm way more okay with it than second row forward and centre wing. I've got Fletcher Hunt and I have considered him enough. I said enough, but he hasn't been scoring enough to be considered anything else.
Yes.
Yeah. So
the old enough stands for nothing player as well, which is pretty accurate.
Yeah. 9. 9 would be about how many SuperCoach points maybe I scored today, which is bad. I benched myself. So give yourself an uppercut, Fletcher Hunt. But I don't know. Like if you are like Iongi to Cleary does seem a really good one before a good matchup, but do you just let this one go through to the keeper? And the Tigers weren't that bad on the weekend as somebody that captain Drinkwater. Let this one go through to the keeper. Then because just remember, you're going to have Cleary not playing and then Nuff not playing as well in the next coming weeks. Just try and find somebody cheap but playable. Maybe, who's it? Jesse Colhoun?
Colhoun.
Colhoun? Yeah. Or somebody like that you can play in a pinch. It's only round 13. We're not even halfway through.
And so, he's not a 2RF, which makes it a little bit tricky, but someone like Tony Suka, who's getting the start this week, we see Alex Seyfarth in the 13 jersey. He's looked pretty good, really, past the eye test. He's getting a start this week. Alex Twal's out with another HIA. He's on 11-day stand down, but we need to remember that Alex Twal also missed, I think, half a season a couple of years ago due to a bad HIA. And then 6 weeks, I think it was last week, with an extended HIA absence. So he's definitely got the history there. So he might get a bit of a run there, Tony Suka. Could be a nice little shout. He's a front row forward only, though. So you just need to use Jules. The second part of this question, Iongi to Cleary, I wouldn't be doing that. Purely because Cleary, he'll play this week against the Tigers, but you missed last week's 90 or 80 or whatever he got. And then you're coming into round 15, you'll be away with the Origin camp. And round 16, Ivan Cleary's already come out and said that they won't be travelling their Origin guys from Perth to New Zealand. So you basically got him for one game of the next 3. I'd probably just try and wait until 17 and pick him up, or even just wait it out and be patient and get through to 19 so that you're certain that you've got him for the run home then. The last thing you want to do is get Cleary now. He gets injured in Origin 2 or Origin 3 and you end up fucked again and you have to move him on.
Like, do you think like just somebody's going to pop up too? Like somebody that's maybe playing somebody that we haven't heard, or like you said, an injury comes in, and they might just play one of the bye rounds and get you out of trouble. Or like, as a bit of a gambling man, you might just roll the dice and play someone. Like I've played Fletcher Hunt in the buys, and you know what? He's a winger playing 80 minutes. He is always a chance of scoring. Did I lose? Yes. But just having somebody that's playing, is always a chance in these bye rounds of them falling over for a try. Like, let's remember, Alex 12 fell over for a try eventually. So,
He did. Nathan Lawson is the guy that puts his hand up as the cheapie of the week by a country mile. And it is a week early going on him because he won't make cash. But what he can do to free up money this week, I think, is probably more valuable. Even if, let's say, for instance, the worst case scenario happens and we don't actually end up making any money of him, he's still going to be a player that ends up either being enough and dropping out, or he's won this spot on merit with Tyrell Sloan. So we'll talk about him a little bit more later. There's a couple of questions there. Let's move on to Sam's question. Can't pick sits or starts this week. You must have a pretty good problem because I don't even need to worry about sit v start. I think mine are pretty obvious because I've got like a few players out. Tapine, Kickout, Hosking, or Timoko? It's got to be Tapine, doesn't it?
He only needs one to play. Yeah, I'm picking. Like, I know I said I'm a gambling man, but I'm also not betting against Tapine when you've got a Kickout or a Timoko or a Hosking. Yeah, it's just got to be taps and like say what you like. And like I was a happy non-owner looking that he scored like 40 in base. His minutes were down and owners were bailed out by a try. Owners were still bailed out by a try. Like let's put that into perspective. So yeah, it's still taps for me. Play him every week.
Definitely not Hosking. I'm off Hosking now. I think he's probably a trade in the next fortnight. Timoko's way too erratic, and Kickout is good enough at putting up 40s as he is putting up 70s, and I can't actually pick when he's going to actually score well because the game against the Gold Coast is where left edge second row has averaged like 100 points per game, and he ended up scoring fuck all. So he's a really hard one to pick. So I think Tapine, you've got to go with him, even if the minutes are down a tad. Sam's got another one. Any justification on selling Drinkwater to any of the 600K players like Walsh or Trell? If buy coverage is good enough, and it means that I can load up on guns and buy back the Origin players after. What are your thoughts on selling Drinky? Because I can get around this. I've toyed around with this.
No, like he's just a really good fullback playing footy. And yeah, you can be off him for scoring 70 last week, but he did score 55.5. And if he was able to keep on going, Melbourne let in a fair few points last week as well. Like, let's not talk about them as if they've been defensive stalwarts. Titans drop some, and Titans play an exciting brand of footy, but I would also put Cowboys in that category as well. I'm still not doing it. I would, if somebody stood there and wanted to do a $50 bet with me, I would say Drinky would still outscore Walsh, Trell, etc. So
Drinky does not miss a game until like round 27. So you've got just a guy that's going to turn up and average probably 70 through this period. So I completely understand holding, but I think with 181 break even, he could score okay this week and still lose 100K. And I think, we're at a point now where would I trade Drinky and make 300K on a trade to go Drinky to Latrell Mitchell or like someone like that? It just seems wild to be able to make that much money off a trade, but trades are starting to get kind of scarce now, right? I've got 20. I'm probably going to use maybe 1 or 2 this week. So that'll get me down to either 18 or 19 trades left. And we've still got a lot of the season left. We've got about half the season. Technically, we're right at the halfway point of the year right now. And you start with 46 and I'm coming into this round with potentially after that 18. Like, we've got to be really selective on trades. And I just feel like maybe you're forcing one a little bit there. But I can get around it. If you want a big pod play, I think Drinky could be a sell to facilitate that. Just you've got to accept the risk if Drinky does obviously outscore him total points wise over that period, which is very likely to happen. Captain Harry's got the next one, and he's throwing shade, which is great. We love it. Can we have an update on the Teddy versus Turbo trade debate? I'd rather not, personally.
Yeah, it's a no from me, dog.
Teddy wins. very, very comfortably, sadly, with Turbo being out again this week. But Turbo being back next week against the Gold Coast Titans makes it really hard to decide on whether you're going to move him on out of frustration this week or whether you're just going to hold him for next week.
I honestly think I'm just going to trade Iongi out over Turbo. He's worth more money. I know it's a 44 break even, but he's playing the doggies who have been good defensively. I think it's probably more an Iongi trade out from me than a Turbo. Just wetting myself over him playing the Titans next week. And honestly, these injury concerns still meaning that he's not going to get picked for Origin as well. For those of you playing at home, I had a little bit of concern that maybe he did get picked for Origin. If he played into some form against some of these shit teams like Newcastle this week, I can't explain them in any clearer way. I think that I'm going to have to find a way to hold Turbo because Gold Coast Titans let in some points too.
Yeah, I'm definitely holding Turbo. It's frustrating when you get a guy 2 weeks ago and he doesn't play for 2 weeks. Like, I completely understand that. But the matchup next week is going to be nice. If he comes back fresh, or as fresh as Turbo can ever be, I don't think he's ever going to be at peak what we know he can be. But I think if he's at 80%, then that's going to be good enough for me. So I'll definitely hold. Brad wants to know, anyone a must-have this week? Got the trades and 300K in the bank just sitting outside top 800. Congrats, mate. Awesome rank. I actually don't think there is a must-have. I think obviously Nathan Lawson next week will be a must-have, but I can't go early. I can't say that player's a must-have when you're going early on them and they make no money. So, yeah, for me, I mean, he's the only one really that pops up. If we look at most traded in players in the top 10% of teams, it's Keon at the top for anybody who missed him. Hamoli's getting he's the second most purchased player in the top teams at the moment, Hamoli, and I don't know whether I love that. And then it's Toby Couchman. So I don't know if there's any must-have players.
No, I don't think so. I think if you did want to rectify some issues, you could look at Cook. I'm personally going to be waiting a week, even with a -3 break even, just to see if he can sustain some decent minutes. Because of the injuries elevating his game. And I'm not saying I want him to play 73 minutes because I think Little should play some minutes. But if he rotates through the middle the way that he has in the last couple of weeks because the coach... because Flano decides that, that's been really good for the team and it's happened because of injury. I just need to see it happen in a game where nobody goes down.
Yeah, that's completely fair. Because that is the risk, right? You go and get him, he goes back to 56 minutes and just does what he did beforehand. So, Chase, next one, lads. I bought Trell last week. Thanks for the tip, Brano. Who do I pair with him? Already have Teddy. Will buy next week. Which fullback?
Because I wouldn't buy Drinky this week because of the high break even though I think that Drinky will be a target in the next coming weeks. But who's Pappy playing? Pappy's playing.
He's on the bye next week.
Well, he's
asking for a target.
Yeah, right.
I'm assuming he needs to free up cash this week and wants to know who he's looking at for next week's target.
Yeah, okay. So I really like him this week against the Cowboys. Even though, I just like him this week against the Cowboys. So.
Yeah, definitely. Look, if you can get him this week, I don't hate getting Pappy even before a bye, just knowing the fact that the Storm have finished their buys next week, right? It's their final buy of the year, which is wild to think. So you can just jump on now. I think the best 3 fullbacks this season should be Teddy. It should be Pappy. Who's the third for you? Is it Drinky?
Yeah.
I don't know whether it is. Yeah. I mean, I guess you're buying him at top dollar at the moment. He's going to drop a bit. So he's not like an urgent purchase.
He did touch nearly 900K 1 or 2 weeks ago. I just don't really like the Melbourne matchup, as a buy-in. But yeah, next week's fine. Let him drop in cash this week and then bring him in.
And the beauty of next week is that we have 3 trades, or 4 if you've got a boost. So you've got a lot of flexibility to do what you want to do next week. You don't have to go early if you absolutely don't have to, unless you're me and have no boosts. So that's, I made my bed there. But
if you waited past Origin, do you think maybe a Dylan Edwards or someone comes good towards the end of the year?
Yeah, at the end of the year, maybe. It just depends how his body holds up through this period as well. Playing a bit more footy. We know he's had some niggling issues this year. So someone a little bit later asked us about our opinion on Edwards and a couple of other pods. We'll leave that for then.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, I'd probably get Pappy this week, Chase. Yeah. I would get Pappy this week or just wait till 16. I think that's probably my plan, is to wait till 16, but I've got Turbo, so we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Rio's got the next one. He's got two questions for us. One, is Tapine a sell? I think you made your bed with Taps. I think he's still a great option. I think round 19 is probably where you need to maybe look at moving him on, but I still honestly think he's a fantastic option through this period.
Yeah, I do. But I do think, like, maybe if you're frustrated and you're finding yourself in the 20s with the trade, say north of 22 trades, like get him to Toby Couchman or something, like, gives me a bit of movement.
Yeah, it's everybody's obviously got recency bias and they look at it and go, well, Tap's minutes have been shit the last 2 weeks, and I get it. We've been victims of Ricky Roulette for probably the first time this year, really. He hasn't hurt us too much up until now, which is where it counts. And this is where Tapine's minutes usually start to fucking get going, and they've gone backwards because they had Horsburgh, right? So obviously, Horsburgh's been named in the 13. Josh Papali'i's been named to start this week, which might change things up a little bit. Morgan Smithy's off the bench. I feel like Tapine needs to play 55 minutes in this team. I'm just not sure what Ricky's doing, to be honest. So I wouldn't trade him though. I think that's a bit of a
knee-jerk reaction.
Knee-jerk reaction. Yep. The second question, who are the cheapies this week? Fucking barely anybody. No one's really, if we look at the break evens.
Lawson,
nice.
Maybe.
Lawson won't make you money this week, but he'll facilitate the upgrade that you're probably looking for. I think that's safe. I think Lawson's safe. I just don't love going early on cheapies because you just don't know what's going to happen in the next week and a half before you need him.
He, like Fletcher Sharp, will never be named on the bench, I think. Fletcher Hunt, sorry. Too many Fletchers, too many mullets. Sorry, I probably should have thought about that before I let it mull it over. Yeah, sorry, that missed. It's been a long day. Give me a break. No, but I do think he just drops out when he doesn't play, and I've liked what I saw in the first game. So even downgrading, say, Toya to go get an absolute gun, you could go to him, and it's way better him dropping out and not playing at all than him playing and becoming an AE nightmare. Even with the flex, as I've seen in some of the comments, like, why are we talking about AE nightmares? Because, it's still just going to get ruled out and give you one less chance at a high score. So, I do think if it does facilitate something fucking awesome, do it.
Yeah, fair enough. Rio's thinking Lawson. That's probably the way I'd go. I don't know whether I'd nuff, and if I did nuff, it probably needs to be someone like Kane Bradley, who has 2 RFs and a wing duel. He's on the extended bench for the Storm, so he might jag a game or two randomly here and there, but I think if he plays, he scores okay and doesn't hurt you too much. So, I'd probably go with Kane Bradley as enough if I wanted to in either of those positions at 2 RF or centre wing, but Lawson's the play, I think.
And you're right, he is a bit of chance getting named at an 80-minute centre role than a bench role. Yeah. So.
Blake, out of all the boys on the podcast, who's the best rugby league player and why? It's not me. I haven't played proper league since 14, 15. I just love the sport, but I don't think I play.
I think it's probably Josh. I know he played a bit of rep footy when he was younger. I was really light and small kid. Like, I was like 30 kilos in grade 8. I was probably 52 kilos when I finished high school. So I never really played. I played a lot of touch footy, even some rep stuff through school and stuff. But yeah, look, I honestly think that it's probably Josh.
It has to be Josh. Josh played some pretty high-level union, I think, from memory. So not league, but footy in general. I think Josh has definitely got us covered there. So, very easy answer. Raymond, need to downgrade in 2RF or front row forward for Thomas Kant. Have basically no money in the bank, 7K. What do you do?
Delete app.
Suka, or just nuff. Kane Bradley, go to Kant to Kane Bradley. The problem is when you nuff, you want to make a decent amount of money from it at least. and you just like can't is like what's he priced at, like 380 or something? Probably less. It just feels like you're not going to make that much money from that move unless it's a bottom dollar guy.
What he can't score last week? Was it that bad that like he's a priority trade out?
He scored. Opening up his stats, so he's 300.
Honestly, he scored.
And
he scored 34. Honestly, just hold on to him.
Yeah,
it's not AE nightmare territory. It's 33 minutes, not 8 minutes. I would hold on to him.
Yeah,
I know that's not the answer you want. So
it just if he needs the downgrade to go and get Teddy next week, right? That's the difference. That's what I'm looking at this week. Is I need probably 300k to make sure I can do the upgrade that I want to do next week to get to Tedesco. So if you need the money and it's an absolute must, look maybe at. If you don't have any other DNPs, just Nuff. Just go Nuff. I think that's probably the way I'd go. Or if you can use Jules, get to Lawson. That's probably the easiest way, I think. Harry wants to know, hey boys, is Nikora a trade out? I brought him in 3 weeks ago, got the 76 against Manly, which was 72 in BP in that game. And then he's just gone back to fraud Nikora status 30 and
he scored 30 and 42. Gross.
Yuck. I went and had a look at Nikora's scores, and there is only one game this year that he has not scored a try and scored over 49. And that was that 76 game where he got I think it was a try contribution or some shit, 72 in base power. Otherwise, his base is down a fair bit. It's not looking good. I'd be trading Nikora. I think there's way too many other good options at 2RF that feels like a bit of a waste of a spot there if you've got Nikora, sadly.
Yeah, and look, I like Nikora probably through some different periods. Like round 19, Nikora excites me. Dolphins, Sydney, Souths, Cowboys, St. George, Titans into Newcastle for the run home. Don't like playing, what team is it? BYE or the Bulldogs. But New Zealand, St. George, Broncos, Melbourne doesn't, instill a lot of confidence. I think if you hold him through New Zealand, you just let it ride him till the end of the year, basically waiting for round 19 and that run home, and play him on, like you said, matchups. But yeah, now is the time, and it would be probably a trade out before New Zealand for me.
And look, if you do decide to keep him and you want to play him on matchups, it's like, how many matchups are you actually going to feel confident? Because he has to score a try to score well, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like so many of these other guys in 2RF don't. Like obviously Keon, Lucas, Katoa, even Hosking didn't score a try. Got 54, right? Nikora is not putting up 50 plus. He's putting up like 45 to 35, which is the concern for me. So I just think you need to trade him personally. So mixed opinions. Cool. Sorry, we didn't help at all, Harry. I hope this helps.
Yeah, I hope this helps.
Bane Wennett asking to the Tiger supporters, being me, and Josh is not here tonight, but I'm sure he'll agree with me. How many years does a team need to be shit before I can change clubs? Obviously a Broncos fan. You're a Broncos fan. Do you feel the same sentiment? You frustrated? The answer is never, by the way. You can't change teams. That's coward status.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking of getting into rugby union SuperCoach, the Queensland Reds. Super into it. I've been watching a lot of live golf through my time of disappointed with the Broncos. I'm not even like, I know that I can come across as dramatic sometimes, but I can't remember the last time I turned off a Broncos game. Unless it was because of a screaming kid or something. I turned it off and just sat there. Yeah.
Look, I'm used to the disappointment. You're not. You guys 2 years ago made a grand final, should have won. So like it's so recent that you were good that the turnaround has just been such a 180. Like Tigers never went from amazing. Yeah, Tigers never went from fucking world beaters to shit. In the space of a year. We just turned shit and then just stayed shit for a very long time. It's been 14 years since we've made the top 8. So I'm used to disappointment. You guys aren't. So you just got to get used to it. It's going to be a tough year, but hopefully you can bounce back. You're welcome. Hanko wants to know our favorite Samboy chip flavor. Honestly, I don't know whether this surprises you or not. I'm not a chip guy.
Oh, wow.
Not a chip guy.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, so it's my time to shine. I can love my chippies. Get very excited. look, it has to be Atomic Tomato. Like, is there any other chip that you can eat that just really feels like a good punch in the face? And that's Atomic Tomato. It's got that tang. I'm a big light and tangy guy when I head towards the thims. I do enjoy a barbecue. I don't like a plain Samboy, but I do love the way that the little crinkle cut just holds the flavor. And yeah, Atomic Tomato is genuinely the only right answer when it comes to the Samboy chip flavor.
I'll just slide over this side so we can talk more about Samboy chips.
Cool.
Yeah. I hope you
Atomic
enjoyed
Tomato
that.
guy? Surely.
No, if you had to make me choose, it'd be barbecue. I'm a barbecue guy for nearly everything. But sweet chili grain waves, that's where I make the exception. That's my go-to. If I'm ever going to have any chips, I'll tell the missus, can you get me some grain waves? Even though she's a celiac, can't have gluten, she gets me grain waves. So good on her.
She can put a bit of barbecue sauce on some cardboard. So perfect.
Yeah, exactly. There are some gluten-free chips out there. Actually, most of them are gluten-free now. Just the word grain in grain waves just makes it, makes it not that good. Yeah, you got an Atomic Tomato fan in here. Love that. Scott loves it.
Talk dirty to me.
Bane Wennett also wants to free up cash for Teddy. Now, obviously, we're not getting him this week. We get him next week. Hosking hasn't delivered. Likely going to lose cash. Got an 82 break even this week, I think it is. 2-week plan, round 14, Hosking to Lawson. So he's going to do that move this week, and then round 15, Toya to Teddy. Thoughts? Maybe looking for approval.
Yeah, I do like it. Is the break even that high for Hosking? I thought it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Against South. 83. Yeah, I suppose. I was half looking at playing Hosking this week, and if you would probably play Hosking, and yeah, you might. What's worst case scenario? You lose 25K, unless you're like 100% sure that that you don't need to play Hosking. Then yeah, I suppose I can get around it. I don't know. Like, I know it's Ricky Roulette, and I know, you said not to trade Taps. I'm kind of in the not trading Hosking either. Like, unless you really need it, and you can have one more week to look at it this week. And like, what's it going to cost you? 20K? Surely, if you're doing those other trades all the way down to Lawson, because Lawson doesn't change in price this week, you can still do it next week with the 3 trades.
Definitely not urgent. Hosking not urgent. Definitely a luxury trade. If this week, if you don't, I'd be trading Horsburgh before I traded Zach Hosking.
Yeah.
And Rob Toya is not going to lose any money this week because he's on a buy. So, like, you can, as much as I'm an advocate to sell Rob Toya and do anything you can to move him on, I think that can wait next week. And Toya to Teddy via some jewels, however you make that work. If you've got to send a wing in flex, that'll work. That's going to be one of the easiest trades you can make next week at that price point. So, yeah, I'm with you on the
Lawson doesn't get named too. Like,
yeah, I don't see Lawson I don't see Lawson booting Sloan for one game and then just disappearing. Like, I think he's won this spot on merit. The word has been that they're not happy with how Sloan's been performing over the last 2 months. And Shane Flanagan has been known to swing the axe when he's not happy. And he did that with Lachlan Ilias. And now he's done it with Tyrell Sloan, two guys that have proven performers in past lives. Or let's call Lachlan Ilias a half a performer in past games, past seasons. So, yeah, I mean, look, I can get around the Hosking to Lawson. That's completely fine. But I also think you can wait a week if it needs to. Just depends on whether there's anybody else that's going to be losing cash for you. And at the moment, if it's just Hosking, that's fine.
Yep, cool.
Corey, thoughts on what to do with Jahrome Hughes? Kind of feels like if I don't jump off now, it'll be another Ponga situation.
You answer this one because you talked to me off a ledge.
I just feel like when you look at the Storm draw, and they've obviously got their buys coming up, their last buy is next week, right? So that his availability is perfect for the rest of the season. This is a proven performer, right? If we go back and have a look at his career stats in SuperCoach, he's averaged 82, 70, 68, 73 over the last 4 seasons. And we're seeing historical low 59.7, which is the lowest since 2019. He's obviously playing a little bit injured, but he's 602K coming into a nice game against the Cows. And then obviously they play South straight after the bye. Yeah, Sharks will be a bit tricky in round 17, but then they play the Cowboys again into the Knights in round 19 on that really, really tricky mini bye round when we've got, I think it's Manly on the bye in 19. It's also Raiders on the bye and the Rabbitohs on the bye. So that's going to be a really tricky week to navigate. Like Jahrome Hughes could be a genuine VC or C option in round 19. I just feel like maybe we're frustrated and it's a frustrating trade rather than just looking at the fact that he's going to come good. I'm very confident in saying that Jahrome Hughes will come good. But the problem I think I'm seeing, and I don't know whether you agree, Ponga is taking some of the good ball away from him. So like last year, he was the guy getting the ball too wide off the ruck and not playing so much of that first receiver role. Whereas now Pappy's the one getting all of that attacking ball in those sweep options on the edges. So a little bit of a different role, but I don't think I'd be trading yet. And I definitely don't think it's a Ponga situation. They're completely different teams. We're talking about the Storm versus the Knights here.
Yeah. And Storm playing Cowboys this week, sorry. Yeah. But 126 break even against the Cowboys. Would you even be surprised if he hit it? And for me, that's could still happen. So,
what if I told you that the North Queensland Cowboys rank dead last in points conceded to halfbacks? Does that change your mind?
I'd believe you.
Because they play them twice in 4 weeks.
Whew.
So
talk dirty to me.
There's your Ponga hold narrative if you need one.
And I like Hughes when Munster's not around as well. So
true. Very good call. He'll get round 18 without Munster and maybe even round 19 if he doesn't back up. So, and that's against the Knights. So wheels up. Stick with Hughes for now. Alistair wants to know, is Ponga to Latrell on the cards this week?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say yeah. I
don't hate it. Like Ponga against Manly, I don't love it. Latrell against Canberra, actually, I also don't like it. But Latrell will have a really low break even, correct? Or did he come in with a really high? It's a 42 break even. I'd probably just hold, but I've been notorious for holding Ponga too long. So
yeah, me too. I moved him on last week. That was the last straw for me. I can get around it. I think it's super potty. Obviously, Ponga not going to be dropped from Origin. I'm very confident in saying that. He'll be the number one for the series.
What if Reece Walsh is back?
Well, Reece Walsh has been injured for how long? Like, I reckon it's Ponga's. Ponga, yeah. I think Reece Walsh has also, had his own struggles this year. When we're looking at form, I think Walsh and Ponga have both struggled as much as each other. So it's not like one's playing the house down and the other isn't. Well, let's go back to Corey's question because he's in the live chat. He also has Nico and Cleary. Does that change your mind on Hughes? Obviously, one of them is sitting in flex. Are you planning on trading Cleary? I guess is the question, Corey. Because if you're planning on trading Cleary next week, Hughes is a hold. If you're planning on just holding Cleary the whole time, it means you're going to just have Nico and basically no gun halfback if you move on Hughes, or no second gun halfback if you move on Hughes.
Yeah, and just trade Hughes to a... I know fullback hasn't been firing, but maybe I'm a creature of habit. I still want a fullback in my flex, and I would probably rather a high upside fullback in my flex than Jahrome Hughes. So, yeah, if he's holding Cleary, then, I can get around it. But it's Wally's 600K, and it's to one of these other 500-odd K options. So I'm talking Latrell. I am talking even Walsh, if you believe it. Just somebody along those lines. Even K when he's got a good matchup. Somebody like that. Yeah.
Corey's holding Cleary. So, look. I mean, I still think I'd like Hughes. But I understand if you've got Cleary and Nico there's halfback 1, halfback 2, based on form this year. So if you can turn Hughes into someone decent, sure. If you can obviously use flex there, so you can go to a good fullback. That's probably the only move that I would do.
Yeah, go to a fullback. Yeah,
but he's said in the comments going to a fullback. Fair enough. I can get around that, but just prepare for him to score well because that's the laws of SuperCoach. As soon as you trade a player out, they make you pay. Jono, currently have Iongi, Turbo, and Teddy. Already copying an AE at hooker because I think he's got Watson and Smith. I think it is at hooker. What should I do? Now, he's got 2 options here for us. Hold trades. So just do nothing and just cop the fact that you've only got 16 this week. Or Trade Turbo out for another fullback that's playing, can go to Walsh or Trell and then possibly back to Turbo afterwards. What's your pick there? Would you just cop it and hold Turbo or move him on?
I'm notorious for just holding through this period. I've got Connor Watson and Sandon Smith as well. Can give you an alternative. Maybe go Connor Watson to somebody. Like, he hasn't really been lighting the world on fire, despite being great all year. And I think that he is a good hold, but still playing fuck all games in the next 5 weeks. Like, maybe trading out somebody like him. And I don't think I don't really like a lot of the hooker options, but maybe you could downgrade to somebody that you're liking to play to facilitate some trades later on. But yeah, maybe just some extra points, roll the dice on maybe a high upside hooker. There is a couple out there that can score well, and roll the dice.
Problem is Hooker's fucking shit. Hooker sucks. So it's like he's the best of a bad bunch really at hooker. I'm just looking at because if, let's say for instance, Watson, he will miss obviously next week, or he misses this week. He'll miss next week with Origin. He'll have to back up from Perth round 16, and I want to have a look at when the Roosters play. They play on the Sunday afternoon, so he's got maximum time to back up. So there's probably a chance he backs up, but he's got to have that Perth travel involved. They play the Cowboys at Allianz in Sydney, so that's fine. And then he won't play 17 because the Roosters are on a bye, and he won't play 18. So basically, over the next 5 weeks, you've got him for 1 week.
Yep.
So yeah, I would absolutely trade Watson out. We were advocating for him as a sell in round 10, so I can get around that for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm telling you to trade out Watson while I'm holding him, so I hope this helps.
You're gatekeeping. Alex wants to know Toya to JC or wait for Karaz to drop in price. I think Jaden Campbell's near a must-have at this point. We said there's no must-haves, but JC is probably at the top of the list or pretty close for me.
And I'm notorious for saying this. Did you see the Broncos play last week?
It's not the Titans anymore. Oh, who was it? Oh, the Warriors. It's not.
Yeah,
the Warriors,
it was. I honestly, I know New Zealanders were giving me hate, but I played them into form. So did you see the Broncos play last week? I nearly put an armband on Jaden Campbell. I nearly put an armband on Jaden Campbell. Then they can just let me down once.
That's fair. That's fair. You know what? I feel like JC is the play. And then, yes, wait on Karaz's price drop. He's got like 120 break even this week. He's at 798K coming off the back of an injury. It's the perfect scenario to just wait a little bit. The Bulldogs have their final buy in round 16, and he could be a really nice pickup round 17 for around that 700K mark. I feel like he's got about 100K to drop in the next maybe 2-3 weeks. But he will score well. I think he's going to score well eventually. He plays the Eels this week, which is an ace matchup. He's running at that edge that Casey McLean and Tom Jenkins made him. Oh, no, he's not. No, he won't be. He'll be on the other side. Oh, no, he will be. He'll be running at Casey McLean and Jenkins, which To'o couldn't break last week. Or Lomax, sorry, couldn't break last week. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe just hold off on Karaz. As much as it's exciting to see him named early, he is named 3 weeks ahead of schedule too. So something to factor in for sure. Alistair, I have Herbie, Lucas, Sharp, Marju, Garrick, Tamale, and Hunt in my center wing. I have 128K. Who should I move on to get Karaz back in? Nobody.
Yep.
Just wait for Karaz.
Yeah, and for me, the answer is Marju at the moment. But also, the second I see Marju starting to play some footy, I'm going to want to buy him back. And you've held on this long. I don't even think that watching Karaz is going to be a tough watch this week.
You know what you've done.
Played him into some form.
Yeah, he's scoring 150 for sure. Covering that break even.
On a bung leg.
Yep, it's going to happen. Lewis, Azarko for Couchman or Latrell or neither?
I really like Couchman this week. Not going to lie.
The price is nice. Yeah. What's he price? 540 or something?
Yeah, 540. Front row forwards, second row forwards have been good. Like, passes the eye test. Like, if you told me in the first half that I saw Latrell that he scored 100, I would have probably called you a liar. Mm-hmm. And we know Latrell can do this, so I'm not discrediting him as a footy player. But man, Couchman looks next level. Looked great coming back from injury. Like if he's like they want him to play, there's some injuries there as well. I am bringing Couchman.
It's a different role for him though. He played 80 minutes last week for a 70. So,
yep.
Like, is he going to stick on the edge? Now, obviously, Dylan Egan's out for the year, right? They've got Luciano Leilua there. Jaden Sewer's going to be out for 1 to 3 weeks or 2 to 4 weeks or something. 1 to 3 weeks, physio says. Like, Couchman could be on the edge for the duration of Sewer. But that's where it probably ends, and that's when he goes back to the middle again, which, again, his role's going to be great in the middle as well.
And he's been good in the middle. Like you're telling me to choose between, Bree and Camembert. They're both really good.
I'm picking Bree over Camembert.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, look, when looking at his scores, you can't really go wrong. Like the game where he scored 46, he only played 43 minutes, but then every other game he's played above 50 minutes until he got injured. 70, 60, 70, 50, 60, 50, 50, 24, and then 80. Like, so those are all minutes in the middle of the field as well. Like that's workhorse type stuff. I know that I said in the WhatsApp, I think it was Ryan that I was talking to, that said he was keen on Couchman. I just said it kind of feels boring, and it does. It kind of feels boring, but then the more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know what, boring's okay. Like if he's going to put up 70 every single week, that's better than fucking Ruben Garrick, who's exciting. You know what I mean?
And I like what you've said, but can I ask you something else?
Yes.
And I know the answer already. Zach Hosking to Toby Couchman.
Oh, for sure. I'd do that. I mean, Horsburgh or Hosking to Couchman, I could get around for sure.
Yeah, and I know it's boring and it might actually be the definition of sideways. But it's a good sideways trade.
I don't think it's sideways. I think Couchman's better than Hosking. He's got a 63 average on the season. Like, that's pretty solid. I don't think Hosking's been putting up numbers like that.
Yeah, he's averaging 56, Hosking is. So.
Okay, so he's 7 points better, and that's including the injury game, but probably including an injury game for Hosking too. So, yeah. Anyway, Couchman, I think, is the answer there, but Trell's a super pod. You can never go against him. That's a really hard question to answer. Azarko to Couchman or Latrell, flip a coin, but both are good options. Silly Blater, must be friends with Bane Wennett. Thoughts on Philip Sami, Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, Max King, Jareem Buller, or Dylan Edwards as possible pods? Would you? Let's rate them 1 to 5. What are your thoughts? I think if Philip Sami was on the wing, I'd say he's number 1 for me. I'm pretty keen on Philip Sami.
And I think he's still number 1 because I don't really like Hammer and Dylan Edwards because they have been not performing. And I know that they're pods. But they're also going away to play Origin, and like Dylan Edwards is missing 15, missing 16, and your numbers might be fantastic, but I still like chasing, Philip Sami playing well, Dream Buller playing well, and then Max King. So, Titans. It's going to go Sami, Buller, Edwards, King, Hammer.
Yeah, I'd probably get it. I'm pretty close to that. I think King's last for me. I think I'm an upside kind of guy, so I'd probably take like Hammer and Buller and Edwards and Sami over the front row forward, especially with Origin. But yeah, I'd agree with that. Philip Sami and the Titans in general, actually, like it's kind of a weird schedule. Like they don't leave Queensland really that much for the rest of the year. I think they've got Suncorp this week, Seabus next week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They've got 7 games at Seabus for the rest of the year and 2 games at Suncorp. So there's 9 out of the next, 14 games are in Queensland. So I don't know. Travel doesn't seem to be an issue. Yeah, wheels up, Philip Sami.
Yeah. But the problem is the casino's so good at the Gold Coast, and they all stay out there till late. You know what? They're better. Give me the Titans at Canberra any day because there's nothing to do. Give me the Titans at St. George because there's nothing. Give me the Titans at Newcastle, please. Mm-hmm. But the Titans at Gold Coast, I mean, there's a reason they signed their inflated contracts for an average team. And it starts with the Cass and ends in Eno.
Yes. We've had 2 trips there ourselves and We ended up at the casino both times watching the grand final, didn't we? So it's
we watched AFL and the NRL grand final that year. That was on the same weekend.
Yeah, we did too. That was gold. That was good fun. Will, are any of Billy Smith, Jahrome Hughes, or Cameron Munster sells? I'm going to say no.
No, it's a no from me. Just be patient.
If you've got 6 guys that are guns, right, at centre wing, and you're really happy with them, maybe one of them might be a Fletcher Hunt, or you've already nuffed there, or whatever. Like, Billy Smith is kind of the only tradable guy out, but I just feel like we've still got more money to make. He hasn't made enough cash for me, Billy Smith, to justify going down. You'd only free up like 150K. Like, he's the same price at the moment as Zach Laybut, which I think he's a better player than Zach Laybut.
Yeah, and like, I mean, sure, if you're sitting there with 300K in the bank, but I'm going to guess that you aren't, and it's going to be a sideways trade, and I would rather, you're right, Billy Smith than any other 380K guy.
Yeah, and Hughes and Munster, I think you need to hold. You came into this period knowing that they were going to play Origin. Nothing's really changed. Munster will play Origin. Nothing's changed there, and we spoke about Hughes earlier, so I'd probably hold him. Munster
is 750K, up like nearly 150K this year.
He's been a tough fade. But I've had JC there, so yeah,
I've had JC and Munster for like all season.
You've had the 2 best options in that position the whole time. Yep. So
I traded out Luke Metcalf. That's disappointing.
True. Well, yeah, I mean, he should be at halfback. Maybe
what if I could play Luke Metcalf at flex?
Yeah, can get around that for sure. Yeah. Who's the best sub 350K second rower in terms of cash gen?
Is Leigh Lewis still there?
Sub 350? Nah, I don't think so. I think he's around the 400 mark now. Sub 350 is tricky. Let's look at break evens for sub 350. We can filter that, can't we? How good's the super?
Kobe Hetherington.
Yuck. So minus 22 break even for Jack Bird. Don't go there. Hopboy, no.
Brody Jones this week. Starting. There's something mid I haven't said in a while.
Here's one. Here's a weird one. Chris Randall. 342K hooker 2RF. At 7 break even this week, playing 80 minutes on the edge while David Fafita's out. We don't know how far he's away. Remember 80-minute Chris Randall? Fucking good player.
I am going to say Brendan Piakura.
Yeah, I can get around that too. You reckon Madge has gone that way and he's gone, nah, this is, like, Piakura has to start now with these changes, with Carrigan in the 13 and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of chats in the WhatsApp, and I had to go away and think about it, and they said, well, what would you change if you were the Broncos coach? And it would be play a second rower in second row, whoever you believe, whether it be Piakura, Jaden Hunt, somebody like that. Play Carrigan at 13. I was going play Billy at 9 until Ben Hunt was back. That one didn't go. But Piakura just being a second rower, being attacking as well. Like it feels like they lost their spark in attack. And Piakura does have he's in Origin squads last year, and I know that's not saying much because Stefano was in it this year. But I mean, he's got the experience, he's got the upside, he's 320K and he's starting now. I would pick Piakura there.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm looking at teams and this price point at the moment. It is grim under 350K. Piakura's break even 64. So when we're talking about cash generation, that's not going to be him immediately, but he's so cheap. I can get around that. I mean, then you've got Gerbo, you've got Brody Jones, you've got Felice Kafusi. They're all no's. Tony Sukar, if you think he's going to get a few games for the Tigers there starting on an edge, that's fine, but I'm not sure how long Twal's going to be out. Oren Keeley probably doesn't get that much time because Max Plath's going to be coming back.
Piakura is the only guy that you mentioned there that I think can touch 500K, despite the 66 break even.
I reckon Chris Randall can get to 500K as well.
Yeah, Chris Randall's probably another one. So those two.
Right. Like it. That's good. That's good. You've made me look at Chris Randall now. So I'm going to have to go and settle myself down.
I just traded in Nikora alive. I know I'll undo changes later.
That was that one. The Dub is asking us, is it time to move off underperforming stars, i.e. Fletcher Sharp or Drinkwater? Gee whiz, you bloody tough taskmaster over here at whatever your team name is, the Dub. Fletcher Sharp, underperforming star. Let's have a look at his scores.
I hate my center wing to average 72.9. If they're averaging 73, I'd be cool.
That's rough, man. That is rough.
57 break even. No, Fletcher Sharp is a season long hold. He's scoring well in the worst team in the comp. The worst attacking team in the comp.
The ball runs through him. This isn't even Ponga's team anymore. It's Fletcher Sharp's. I feel like there's a bit of Lehigh Hopewadi about him, like the number one jersey will long-term be his. So
Fletcher Sharp, actually, I hope so, yeah.
You know what? We didn't mention Lehigh Hopewadi. No one's asked one question about him, but someone asked at the start, are there any must-haves? Lehigh Hopewadi could honestly be closest to a must-have this week.
I think he's still a buy.
Yeah, definitely. Me too.
Before that, Watson to Chris Randall, there's your high upside hooker. Please.
Legit. That actually could work. Okay.
I might have just brought in Chris Randall and Brendan Picker live on the show, guys.
I love it when we're like just shuffling through a podcast trying to find players out of nowhere, and we come across a guy like Chris Randall. What a time! What a time!
Follow my Instagram @SC_Matrix and SuperCoach Brain. I can tell you for free. And we haven't spoke about this, that I'm going to do a post on Brendan Piakura tomorrow, and you're going to do a post on Chris Randall, because it's hard to find content until you start talking shit about SuperCoach.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're in group chats with Whisperer, Aman, and us too. So you can imagine the amount of shit that is talked in these chats, and no one has spoken about Chris Randall. And I know Josh is a big Chris Randall guy as well. So I'm going to wind him up. Actually, I might message him right now and say Chris Randall ? And see if he messages back. Yeah, we've got to do it live just to see what the bants will be like. I'll send it to the whole group.
Fuck. We messaged you at the end of last week's TLT, saying that we were bringing in Gutho. So.
Yeah. Maybe it just becomes a thing where whoever isn't on, we have to message them with what we've been talking about and see if we can get a reaction. I know he's out at the moment though, so he was out late, so we might not see it.
He's back in 8 minutes.
Is he? We've got one more question here from Harry to wrap things up. Only own 2 fullbacks, which is Teddy and Turbo. Do I run the gauntlet in having no fullback this week, or do I trade Turbo? We spoke about, do we trade Turbo earlier? I'm holding because of the Titans next week. And Turbo's going to be a pod. No one's going to buy him because they're going to be worried about the injury risk. But it means now that you're going to have to cop 17 and no flex, or sorry, no player dropping out, which I think I can deal with.
My problem is, like, unless you've got 50K in the bank, which I hope you do. I don't know who the fuck I'd go Turbo to. Like without spending money, like you can't go down to anyone else. It was C&K last week when it was 500K, but now C&K's had a good game and you can't get him either. I don't know. I can't see anybody 500K that I want.
Yeah, neither really, to be honest. It's tricky. It's really tricky. And like that price point, like there's a couple of fallen guns at fullback, like Walsh. Walsh could be a flyer, but fuck, you got to be ready for the 8 as well as the 80. You got to be ready for the 70 points in the last 10 minutes.
If you were going to play him, would it be against the Titans?
Fucking oath it would. Absolutely would.
I might captain him straight C.
Yeah.
Just made money bringing in Piakura.
Well, you've said all week that you love holding players, so I'm assuming you've just held Walsh this whole time. I
thought about it.
I bet you did.
Thought about it. I have held Iongi longer than you guys, so thank you. It's Iongi that I'm looking to trade out.
Yeah, that's fair.
I held him through some good times and some bad. Like they should write a song about that.
I think they have, from memory.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was about him though. But
really?
No, guys, that's us. That's all the questions. So, there's a fair few to get through tonight. Obviously, a pretty important round coming into round 15 next week. So everyone's preparing to have their cash in the bank ready to go to attack that major buy. I don't know about you, but I have like 18 players available next week for the second major buy. I don't know how I've done it. I haven't actually meant to do it, But I was just looking at it today going, well, if I hold a couple of these extra players or if I replace them with the guy that's also playing in 15, I have 18 players in the 13 round. So I think I might just start to focus on getting the best player in now. Because I looked at the rest of my buys and I've got 18 in round 15. I think I've got 21 in round 16. And then round 18, I've got like 15 players as well for round 18. So is there merit now in just not worrying about the buys? Everyone should be pretty well set up.
Yeah, I've got 14 for 15. I was just sorry, that's why I went quiet for a moment. I know you guys have never heard that, but I've got 14 before any trades as well. Like, yeah, like
so round 15 seems like the easiest one. The easiest one to prepare for. So yeah, I do like the point of difference play this week in a Latrell or someone like that can get you up the rankings in round 14 because next week will be pretty easy to navigate, in my opinion.
Even round 16, I've only got Hamish Stewart, Garrick and Turbo out.
And if you buy Couchman, you'll have him out in round 16.
Yeah.
I think if you have more than 5 out in the minis,
that was so 10 minutes ago, man.
Sorry, we're on Randall now, aren't we? 2RM?
Yeah. No.
Piakura. Fucking hell, we'll talk some shit in this one. We've come up with Piakura, Randall, and Philip Sami. So
I'm an
you're welcome.
guy.
Guys, that'll do us. That'll do. We're rambling now. So, we'll be back on Wednesday night for the live preview. Josh will be back on. It'll be all us three talking about around 14. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you want to become a subscriber and get your questions answered on the pod, where we do come up with some genius ideas like buying Chris Randall and Brendan Piakura, you can become a member. The link is in the description below. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow night for the live, probably around 8:30. Catch you then.
Cheerio.